on.
Hey everyone, I hope we're live. If you could hear us, let us know. If you could see us, let us know. I hope everybody's doing great today. Let us know where you guys coming from in the comments.
It's a big week.
Yeah, super excited. Can't wait to hear everybody's ideas for the plugins that they want to build. Got some from San Francisco, I'm assuming. That's awesome. How's the weather there? Nice. Pretty nice out. Yeah, I'm assuming it is. Yeah. The weather where I'm at is pretty nice too. So it's pretty cool. But glad to have you here. And we're going to start in a few minutes diving into the main material. But first, we just want to say hello to everybody. Say hi in the chat, guys and girls.
Hello. Nice. Okay. Sorry, I was just fixing a couple of things. I changed my monitor layout, and so I had to make things go somewhere else. But hey,
Yep.
everyone. What are you excited about Plugin Week? I think this is the first time we've had this. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's going to be awesome. I actually took time to build my own plugin, and it was an amazing learning experience. So I am excited to see what other plugins, other developers, and members of the community or anybody participating going to build.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's been like a lot of activity in the Discord. So that's good to see. Let me see if I can share my screen actually. I will just wait for a few more people to trickle in because we'll be answering some really important questions.
Yep.
So where is that screen? There we go. Okay. There we go. Plugin week, Strapi Plugin week, day one. We're gonna have 5 of these, so don't worry if you missed this one. It'll be recorded, and there'll be a chance for us to chat and talk tomorrow. So fear not. I think we can start in like 2-3 minutes. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, that'll be perfect. And everybody participating, don't be shy. Say hello in the chat. We'd love to hear where you are from, what your ideas are, what you're mostly excited about.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are here to just like watch, learn, towards the end of this, we have something from Paul on plugins. We can call it like a plugin 101. Paul just released an amazing course on YouTube, so I'm sure you'll learn a lot from his session. But yeah, I think we're a couple of people here. We'll definitely record this and share, and we definitely want to be respectful of everyone's time. It's gonna be a long fun week, so let's kick things off, shall we? Oh, cool. Rob from the UK just joined us.
Nice.
Thank you for joining. Yeah, I agree. Paul's videos on YouTube are great.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate it.
Looks like you've got a fan in the chat.
Fantastic.
I'm sure not the only one. Um, but sure, let's kick things off. What are we getting into? We're going to look at plugin week. We're going to look at the hackathon. Um, Part of the reason why we're doing this, besides wanting people to sort of like get an idea of how to better use, create plugins and just like create that marketplace ecosystem, is that we want feedback on what we're doing. So I'll share something on how you can actually give us those feedbacks, and then some resources that we've created. A lot of people in the company took some time and the community to create a bunch of resources to help everyone get up to speed with building plugins. And then I think a lot of people will be happy about this one. At the end, we'll have a live show of Paul well, somewhat Paul's course. So we'll get a plugin 101 from Paul. Hello, Ayid. Welcome. So yeah, let's get started. Plugin week. It's happening, and we'll have so many cool sessions. So the idea is to celebrate plugins and their creators, and just show sort of like the potential that the Strapi ecosystem has. And so to celebrate that, we're running a plugin week from today, 30th May, to 3rd June, the first of many. The next ones will probably could be about plugins. I don't know. Drop a response in the chat on what you'd want the next ones to be. Would love to hear that. Um, and so if you checked out our page, great question, Luca. We'll get to questions pretty soon. So if you checked out our announcement post, which I will share, a big part of the plugin week, a big part of the plugin week is big part of the plugin week is the sessions we have every day. Today we have the launch, like I shared, um, as well as a stream and the plugin 101. Tomorrow we'll have a session with some Strapi engineers, so you can ask all your questions as you get started building, and then a hangout, followed by a yeah, just like generally we'll end the day. June 1st, which is Wednesday, we'll have Matthias from Virtus Labs, and they'll come talk about how they use plugins. They've built some amazing plugins. And then we'll have a nice secret activity, which you definitely do not want to miss on June 1st. And then we'll have another Q&A with Strapi engineers in case you have any questions that you need answered live, or if you want to sort of talk about larger plugin related topics with them. And then Friday, we close things off with a nice recap. We share moments, lessons, and sort of like highlight a lot of things that have happened, and do like a mini party in the Discord at 5:20. So these are all starting at 5 p.m. CET, that's Central European time. And you can check that out on lu.ma/Strapi Plugin Week. We'll drop a link in there. But that's pretty much what you can expect for the plugin week. And besides that, oops, like sort of the main thing that we're talking about is the hackathon. It's finally happening. I think we've talked about a Strapi hackathon for a long time, and we're doing one. So what are the rules? A lot of people have asked this. You've got to create a Strapi plugin between now. That's the third. What's today? The 30th. My bad. Between now, the 30th of May, and the 3rd of June. You've got to create a plugin, push that code, and open source it on GitHub, publish it to NPM, and then submit it to our plugin marketplace. And then, of course, fill in the plugin submission form. And I'll share a blog post link to that. A blog post that's sort of detailing all of this. Those are the rules. Besides that, sort of like the fine print is the plugin has to be a v4 plugin. For a submission to be valid, you have to record a demo of your plugin, sort of showing what it does. So it's much easier for our judges to see what your plugin does. And that's a quick summary of the rules. If you have any questions, please do drop them in the chat, and we'll get to them soon. Prizes. The first prize is $1,500. Great question. Oh, love that. Someone's already running the generate plugin. The link I'll share it. Paul, could you share it in the private chat? I think I have YouTube and stream blocked, and then I'll share it.
Oh, 1 second here. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. But yeah, first prize $1,500, second $1,000, third $500, and then we have a nice special prize for the funniest / most creative plugin, and that'll be about $400. So yeah, that's the prizes. Also, let us know what you think about them. So this is less of frequently asked questions and more of like things that are good to know. Um, it's V4 plugins only. Yeah, people have asked, is this V3, V4? It's V4 plugins. The deadline is midnight, June 3rd. That's specific time. So that's West Coast US. And so everyone's going to be super lucky because they have a little bit more time to submit a plugin. And then we'll take the weekend and a few days to sort of look at all the plugins the submissions that we received. And then winners will be announced on June 8th. So I'll get to your question about how it's being judged. And then we can also share the announcement blog post. I'll share that soon. But criteria, great question also. Hey, Fatsa. Criteria. We'll be looking at a couple of things for judging the hackathon. So whenever we look at a plugin, we'll say, how useful is this? Is it solving a problem? Is it efficient in the way it's written, in the way it's structured? Is it following design practices detailed in the guidelines? Transparency. It has to be open sourced, of course. Longevity. Is this something that other people can build around or use also? Can you create some sort of like open source project around this? That's what we'll be looking at for longevity and presentation. How good is your video demo? Are you sort of like communicating the value of the plugin really well in that? And then bonus points if this fixes like something that's already available or already mentioned on our Canny page. So we have a Canny plugins. So I'll just share that here. And yes, you can submit more than one plugin. It's less of a proposal and more of a project. If you have the time to build more than one project, definitely do that. And yeah, I see there's a couple more questions. Let's see if I missed anything. So I've tackled how is it being judged. I've tackled can you submit more than one plugin? The link, Desi just shared that. Announcing plugin week. Thank you.
Oh, that one.
Here it is. I will just share it again for everyone. And yeah, like I mentioned, a lot of why we're doing this is not just to yeah, showcase the ecosystem. We'd really want feedback on sort of like the plugin creation process. If there's anything that you're struggling with when it comes to building plugins, if you need content, if you need something to be technically more if you need something to be technically more sound, let us know. And so our request is, if you have any feedback that comes up during the plugin week as you're building with Strapi plugins, please do open a clear issue on our GitHub repo, and use the correct channels in the Discord. We've got a couple channels, and a lot of those are really well explained. If it's plugin extension, if it's plugin creation, if it's plugin development, and if it's very hackathon related, please do use the specific channels for those. We have another question here about, are we allowed to continue to work on the plugin during the judging period? Yes. So when you submit it, it should be in a working state, and we'll sort of like look at that at the point of submission, because plugins, of course, are long-term projects. We don't want you to just build something and then forget about it. So if you feel like you need to work on it even after, we'll be looking at the plugin when you demoed it. That's what we use to judge your plugin, and not necessarily what's done during the plugin submission. So um, I guess you can say we're looking at the potential of it rather than the finishedness. So I guess that's the idea of a hackathon. Sort of get together, build something. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the idea of perfection should be in mind, or the idea of completion to some regard. Yeah. Any other questions before we move on to some of the resources that we've put together? Thanks, Paul, for sharing this one. Maxim also did a really concise article series on plugin creation. So if there's people who like blog posts, that's for you. Paul, could you also share a link to your series, and we can have that? There's a question from Z. Can we still use before create in upload plugin in V4? I think that's around the lifecycle hooks, and is that around building a plugin or building your own provider or using the upload plugin? Z. Right. Okay. It's resources galore. So oh, don't mind that. That's a mistake. It shouldn't be criteria. It should be resources. So like I mentioned, we have a resources page, a specific plugin resources page, which we have crafted so that you can have a central location to check on everything Strapi plugin related. And so you can check that out. We also have the plugin docs for V4, which I think our documentation team did an amazing job on. We have the plugin course that I just shared from Paul and Maxime, the written one and the video one, if video is more of your thing. And then we have very important plugin guidelines. So I'll just send those. And sorry in advance for my very loud keyboard. There we go. Okay. Cool. Thank you. And I should think so about your question on using Strapi Upload, but I would drop that in the Discord. And I think you might get a much more contextual answer. So that's sort of like a summary of the plugin event, the hackathon, the plugin week, what you can expect, and what we are looking for. So really quick, I'll push this over to Paul actually. But before that, I just want to sort of highlight Paul and what his course is. It's how to build plugins in Strapi V4. It's a really nice tutorial on plugin development, and so you can check that out on YouTube. He builds a to-do plugin, and you can use that to cover a lot of what you're could potentially be building for this week. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone builds. And I will stop sharing my screen at this moment. I'll be in the chat, and I'll let Paul sort of like take over on a quick plugin 101.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Hey, everyone. Hope everyone's having fun right now. So today I'm going to do a quick overview. Obviously, we can't cover everything, and to also say I don't know everything. And that's the beauty of this community, that we could all help each other. But what I want to talk about today is getting started. And I know we covered some of the resources, but I want to touch base on those as well. And first, I want to show you the simple plugin that I created. It's a simple to-do plugin. It allows you to add a to-do. I'm just going to say hello. Can't type under pressure, and you'll be able to add the to-do and stuff like that. And obviously, whenever there's a demo, everything breaks, or maybe my internet. Let me make sure that it's started. 1 second here. Develop. And of course, I already broke something. Anyway, we'll do something from scratch just to kind of uh, not get bogged down by this. Preparing for this demo, I definitely broke this, but I'll send you a GitHub link where you could check this out. For sure, it's working. But what I want to do is to continue when you're building your plugin. As you can see, I have this view that matches the Strapi design. And whenever you building plugins for Strapi 4, it's very important that you guys are using Strapi design systems to make sure that you are maintaining the consistent look of your plugin, especially if you are, you know, wanting to creating UI elements within Strapi. So I'm gonna send this link and have Daniel share it with you guys, making sure that you know. And the cool part about the design system is that you have pre-built components, which is really cool because it allows you to design your UI fairly quickly. Here we have an example of an accordion that you can use. We have alerts, avatars, buttons, and all of this is already pre-built for you guys and girls with all the accessibility that you need. And more importantly, when you're building your UI, here's the example of that component that I just showed you. It allows you to build your UI really quickly and fast. And that's something that I really love about Strapi design system. Now, here's the plugin resource page that we talked about, and we're going to take a look at getting started with plugin in just a moment. But here you could find everything you need to know in one place to be able to answer the questions that you may have. And for instance, if you go to plugin reference, you could see it shows you all the different information. So if you wanted to learn more about the server folder when we create our plugins, it'll show you all the information here. And we'll touch on this in just a moment. But I want to share the resources with you just so you're aware that there's places for you to find help. Another resource is that a lot of people underestimate is the actual marketplace at Strapi, because you can go and, for instance, you could look for a plugin, notes, let's say. And whenever you go to the page, the best part, because everything is open source, you could literally go to the GitHub page. And if I'm not sure how something works or not sure how how to implement a certain thing, don't be shy about, checking out and seeing how other creators have used it. And this is why I love our community, because you have access to all the code base and you could look things up. And I just wanted to share that with you. Also, in terms of the basic introduction to plugins, I released a getting started with plugins where we build that to do plugin that I tried to show you today, that I broke something when I was signing up. But we have 6 awesome lessons that explain everything you need to know to get started. And this is especially aimed more for beginners starting out. So if you've never done it before, don't you worry. This is a perfect tutorial for you. And for something that we mentioned also is Maxime wrote excellent series of 6 articles that also jump into plugin development, which she touches based on some of the things that I did not do in my tutorial. So this is another great resource for you. But with that being said, let's kind of take a look at some of the basic things you could do. So what I did to get started, so I have in my terminal, the plugin that's not working, we're going to ignore that for now. But I basically, in my current folder, I have a basic installation of Strapi. So what I did, I ran the basic Strapi install command, and I have a fresh copy of Strapi. And what I did, I just already signed in, so you don't have to watch me do that. And what we're going to talk about is starting our plugin. So currently, we don't have any plugins showing up here. So let's get started with something very simple. So whenever you starting out with plugin, you could start and create your plugin by using Strapi generate command. And let me see if I could make this a little bit bigger. Let me know if you can all see my screen pretty well. I'd hate to get too far and you guys like, oh, we can't read your thing, which is perfectly fine.
That's
But
great story.
all right, awesome.
Okay.
So we could run yarn strapi generate, and what we'll do is give you options that you could choose from. Since we want to generate the plugin, we would go to the plugin generate option, and it will scaffold the basics of your plugin. So we want to give it a name. We're going to call it demo plugin for now. Keep it simple. And what it did, it went ahead and generated all these items for you and all these folders and files. And we'll take a look at them in just a moment. And once we generate our plugin, we want to copy and paste this code here. I'll show you in a second here. And I already have this open. And what we want to do in our config folder, we want to create a new file called plugins.js, and we're going to paste that code inside here. Now, whenever you're working with plugin development or you're making changes which need to reflect in the UI of Strapi, you need to always rebuild your UI. So I could run yarn build, rebuild the UI, and then I could do yarn develop to start the application. And one that starts, let's take a look here, refresh the screen. And now you see that we have our demo plugin here. And one of the common mistakes is not to realize this. And sometimes when we make changes in our UI and we'll try running yarn develop, and all of a sudden we still don't see our changes. So to kind of help us with that, we could actually run our application in yarn develop watch admin. And that's going to start our application in watch mode that will allow us to make UI changes and see them in real time. So let me log in here. And here we are. And so now let me just make sure there's any questions. Yes, the awesome admin watch mode, super important. And so now let's take a look at the folder structure. So we just generated our plugin here. And let me find the folder here. We go into source and we go to plugins. And let me make this bigger. And we have our to-do plugin that we created using the generate command. And when you're working on your plugin, the two main folders that you have is your admin folder and your server folder. And the server, if you had to think about these two folders, admin folder, it's basically a mini React application. So if you're familiar with React, you would feel right at home here. And if we take a look at it, we have this breakdown where we have a folder for your components that you could add for your plugin. You could have additional pages. When you first start this plugin, you will have this home page with an index.js file. And this is where you're able to start creating your UI. So if we take a did I close that window 1 second? Yeah, if we take a look here, we have our demo plugin, and you could see here that it just has happy coding. So if I go back in my code and change happy coding to all of you, and because we're running in watch admin mode, that should automatically refresh here. Now, one gotcha I want to show you, at least for me, it was a gotcha. If I stop the running the code and run it with yarn develop again, and it happens sometimes, so we'll see if it'll happen this time. Fresh here, started at a local host. 13. Oh. You all will learn that I do not know how to type under pressure, which is so funny. So we go to admin, let me log in again. I forgot an A there. And if you go back here, so notice how it doesn't reflect the changes that we made in code. And sometimes this could get really frustrating, especially if you made a lot of changes. You were working in admin watch mode and you saw all those changes made, like you see here in code. No, it should say happy coding to all of you. So don't forget to run yarn build command again. And this was frustrating for me at the beginning when I started, because I was like, I just made these changes. What happened to them? And this is something that you might run into. So if I run yarn develop and refresh, now you see our changes. And I just wanted to point that out because that was really frustrating for me when I was like, why isn't this working? So don't forget to do that. But with that being said, let me go back here and do yarn develop watchman mode again and get started again. Oh, oh, I'm gonna blame it on my typing fingers here. So back to our plugin, and just to kind of show an example of working design systems, which is kind of cool, is you could go over here and take a look at any element that you want, and let's say you want to put a badge or button or avatar, whatever it is. It's very easy for you to do. You could check on the component, you could click on the docs, you could see the explanation of everything you need to import and how to use it. And I think this is kind of awesome. So let's see empty layout state here. Here's an example. Let's go copy and paste this. Let's show the code. All right. And so what I'm able to do, I'm able to go inside my code. I have too many windows open. And I could, let me make this smaller, close this here. I'm able to import it. And let me go back here. Let me copy this example. And I'm able to paste it here. And for now, since we don't have that icon, I'm going to remove it for the time being. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to our and of course, console. Oh, box is not defined. That makes sense. So let's import. I think we could do it like this. And again, if you're not sure like where something is coming from, you can check in the docs in the design system and see if where it is. And I have to put my quotes. The pressure of live coding is on. So again, common mistake. I probably don't have the right import. So what do? You go back and you search box, click enter, and
Did
you
you
find
did
it.
you install it? Did you install the design system
It
as a
should be
package?
yeah, it should be automatically installed. I'm pretty sure I'm messing up the import here, so let me double check here. And if but I will let me try this first here. For me, it's the spelling under pressure.
No pressure. Was just writing a bunch of words,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
being watched by a couple of our friends.
Yeah, they're probably right. So that'll be interesting. It's um, reference button is not defined. So here's the interesting thing. When I build my plugin, I didn't have to install Strapi Design System, but maybe let's try that. That's so funny. Maybe I installed it and forgot about it. Uh, that'll be so funny.
And I see another question around like auto imports. I don't think it's something that's currently supported, but we do have the design system repo, and I think that's something that the team would probably be welcome with someone building. If not, you can open an issue about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting. Like before the demo, I tried everything and everything worked, and now when I'm doing stuff in real time, it's like, what is happening? Oh, and it's just like, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, it happens, and
It's
I think
like,
now the value is like now we can all live debug, and everyone
yeah,
can
yeah. No,
get a
that's the
feel of what it is.
yeah that that's the best part is that that's exactly true. You have so many people in the chat that are able to jump in and help out.
Exactly. And I'll share a link here to the component library, the storybook. Um, no, not yet on the icons. It is something I did share. I think on the npm package page, um, the the developers might have put all the icons on the npm package page. Look out, let me just see.
Hmm.
Nope. Maybe it's in the backlog. Thanks for the feedback. I'll pass that on. Where are we at, Paul? What's
I'm I'm installed it, and let's see here, yarn, oh, npm run develop. Just kind of curious. Yeah, it's the pressure of live coding.
Yeah, no, don't worry about it. We'll get through it.
Oh,
Do you know once
I
you started in watch mode?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I should do that.
Yeah. Usually with the design system, whenever I'm doing stuff, one thing I noticed that I think, yeah, we also should probably make a PR for is a lot of the examples, the things that you import at the top versus the code that you copy and paste are a little different. And so we might have to import something else. So we can check that. If you open VS Code, we can uh, we can see if there's something that we're missing.
Oh, actually, one second here. Uh, watch admin started here. Yeah, and I'll look at VS Code in a second.
No problem. Yep, it's yeah, I see. The npm page is um empty. I will literally screenshot that and share that feedback. Okay.
So here we are.
So we're importing empty state layout and box, but we're not importing button.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you, thank you. The
yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, is to make sure that whenever you copy from the design system, they do not show the additional imports that we need. And this is like such an easy thing to kind of get stuck here. Like I'm stuck right now. I'm like trying to figure out like what is happening. And it's like, oh, you don't have a button imported. Um, so that's actually a good observation to make sure that.
Let me just take.
And plus, yep. Oh my goodness.
And so we also use an icon, so we have to
Yep,
import
yep.
from the
So that's
icon.
actually a good idea here. So when you come here and you try to find where the icons, you go under themes, and you could find all the icons that you're using. You know, so we were using plus and or whatever icons you want to use. That's cool.
Oh, nice.
So,
They added that. Okay, so that's
yeah. So that
exactly where that
yeah.
is.
So yeah. So that's a good feature for us to have. So um, and I just yeah. So that's pretty good. So let me go import that icon here. Yeah, and that's kind of like funny. Like I completely of you know import or what is it plus at from from Strapi icons, right?
Yep.
Actually, we want to put plus, I believe. After all that struggling, here we are. So now you have your empty state component. And so um, the cool part, like we mentioned, using the Strapi design system, everything looks familiar. It matches the Strapi design and everything looks consistent and awesome. So based on the mistakes that I made, I do want to say thank you so much for helping. And the quick takeaway, because I was rushing through the example, um, when we go into design system and let's say you have empty state layout, they show the import for the component, and this is kind of why I shouldn't have been rushing. When you look at the code, they have all these additional components like the button, the plus that I didn't and the box component that I didn't pay attention to. So whenever you are looking through the documentation, just be aware of that. Like today I wasn't, because I'm too excited for this, so yeah, thank you all in the chat for the awesome help. And so that's one way to use the design system and help you work. And so whenever you guys and girls working through your plugin development, all of your changes that you're going to be working that have to do with your front end, you will be working from the admin folder. So let's quickly jump into the server folder as an introduction. And if you take a look at the server folder, it looks very similar to the regular Strapi folder. And I believe that's by design because it's the same methodology that you would use to create your content types, controllers, your middleware policy and routes and services and so on that you used to do with Strapi is the same way you would do it here in the plugins. And so in the content types, this is where you would put your content. Currently, we don't have any. In controllers, this is where you would have your controller, and they have a custom controller. And one thing that you could do, you could create your controllers by yourself here just by creating a new folder and typing it out, or you could use Strapi generate command to do all those things. So if you wanted to go and let's see here, run yarn, run yarn Strapi generate. And if let's say if you wanted to make our content types, we'll just call it to do. You could do type, yep, sounds good. To do's. And what you could do, you could decide here if you want it to be a collection type or a single type for our to do's. It would be a collection type. And use draft and publish basically means if you want to have an option uh, to have it in publish or draft state, if you hit no whenever you uh, create that uh, to do, it'll just save it right away. You don't have to make sure to publish it like you would with a blog post. And here, do you want additional attributes? You could add your attributes here. For instance, I could say yes, and we could do name, which could be you have all the different data types that we have available here. You could, add it here. We're going to add a text, and let's say, do we want to add another one? Yes. And name of the attribute is going to be, let's say, is done. And that's going to be Boolean. And you want to add additional attributes? Let's say no. Add to a new model, we add to model to existing API. We're going to go to the plugin and we're going to add it to our demo plugin. And we're going to say no because we're going to create the controls and services ourselves. And so this is going to create your content type. So we're going to run our application in watch mode. I have too many windows open. And then when we go to content manager, you're like, where's the content type? It's not showing up. And let's look at our code here. If you go to content types, we do have the content types that we created. So whenever you use the generate command to create your content types, you still have to export them or import them. So here in our to do file, I want to make sure that I have a, oops, here, new file, index.js. And what we're going to do here is we're going to export our schema. So first we're going to import. And so we're importing our schema, and then we're going to module export our schema. All right, and then we go to the index.js file here, and we're going to import our to-dos. And we're going to export our to-do. Okay, fantastic. Let's say, just close some of these extra windows. All right, and then when we refresh, let me restart. And log in again. And now we have our to-dos available here. And so there's these little things that sometimes that we're not aware of. We might not sure, like we might not know like what's going on or what are we missing, especially if you're a beginner. I know there's a lot of people that are starting out with plugin development who are very familiar with the Strapi, infrastructure, how everything works. So maybe these might not be issues for you, but someone who's starting at the beginning working and developing plugins. And by the way, this was my first plugin that I created. So I'm in the same learning phase like a lot of you who are just starting out. So the reason why I wanted to mention that and say that is because we want this to be for everybody. So not just for everybody who, let's say, already built like 10 different plugins that they just want to enter the competition, but we also want it to be open for new beginners who are discovering Strapi for the first time or want to learn more about coding, developing plugins. And I'm kind of glad that I suffered through this a little bit because I want to show you that it's okay, that anybody from any place could jump in and start building them. And coming back to it, for instance, when I was getting stuck, the best place was reading the comments and seeing the solutions. And this is why we have our Discord channel, which I'm sure a lot of you are members of. And we want everybody to participate. And one of the most coolest parts about it is when you ask questions there and people answer regardless of your level. I mean, I even ask for questions there all the time because there's times that I'm stumped all the time. And this is why I love the fact that we're part of this community. And I love the fact that even though you might be working on your individual plugin, doesn't mean that you can't help somebody else to work on their plugin or vice versa. And I think that's the whole point of this hackathon. And this brings me back also to this whole idea. You have all these resources available. We took a look at, the where to find your components for the design system. We have this access for, Strapi plugin resources. For instance, I might be working on my plugin. And I'm like, I'm not sure, like, what is the server or the admin folder is. And you're able to go to your resources and look, okay, let me read more about it. Okay, let's take a look at server, and then it'll explain to you everything you need. What are the registration, bootstrap, and destroy functions that we have. So if you look on our code here, Let me close some of these that we don't need. We have all these additional files, and you might not know what they are exactly. And this is why you should rely on our documentation. And you could even ask, in Discord. And for instance, you want to know like how to create routes. You click here, and I'll show you, how everything works, how you're able to create a route. If you wanted to create an additional route, how you would do it. And so, like, if I were to continue showing all of this to you, this tutorial will be like really, really long. So I feel like it's more important for me just to kind of share with you the resources and where you could find help more importantly. So if you were working on your plugin and you had questions about any one of these sections, you could see that in our resources, each one of those section correlates right here with one of these options. And so if you're ever stuck, definitely rely on the documentation, rely on this amazing plugin research page that we have for you. We also mentioned those articles that Maxime wrote about getting started with plugins. So if you're very brand new, check out the videos. If you uh, made some plugins or very familiar, go and take a look at our blog section. I had it somewhere here, but let me just go.
I'll
There we
share
go.
it. Don't worry.
Yeah, so
Oh, you can find it if you
like
got.
you
If
could go. All right, cool. Yeah, you go into the blogs. I just want to show you. It's the and we share the link. It's the articles written by Maxime. It's a series of 6 articles, and he covers pretty much everything you need to know and about developing plugins, including some of the things that I didn't mention, which is a very good resource. So, kind of with that being said, I guess I'll just finish up here. I just want to say that it's open to everybody. Don't feel shy if you're just starting out. It's a great learning experience for everybody, including myself. And so, I hope that everybody who's on the stream, you guys and girls, continue and just jump into it, see what plugin you could build, and let's help each other in the community do it together.
Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think that's the whole point of the plugin week.
Yeah.
Get ready, get up and running with building plugins, and I think we've done our best, and we've sort of like shown our cards in terms of providing resources. And like I mentioned, if you have any feedback on anything that you think is missing, thanks so much for everyone who's talked about the icon list, talked about auto imports, talked about a lot of other things. We've definitely passed that feedback to the team, and they're looking at it and we'll work on making it better. And that's sort of the point. Help you build easier, help us build a better project, help everyone sort of like be more productive with the way they're going around building whatever they're building, be it mobile applications, web applications, learning management systems. And I'm excited for day one. Day one has been really fun. Um, We'll be back, same time, same place tomorrow. And I would suggest trying out to build a plugin, get some errors, so that when we're back tomorrow with questions from our expansion team engineers, you'll be you have a ton of questions to ask them basically. And yeah, they're the people who worked on sort of like the design system, are currently working on the custom fields RFC, did a lot of work around plugins, and are in charge of the whole plugin submission process. So if you're curious to know about the marketplace, what that looks like for you as a plugin developer, if you're curious to know something super niche about the plugin API, tomorrow is a really good day to attend. I appreciate everyone coming out, and we'll see you in Discord, where we'll all be from now until sometime. Paul's on US time, so I think he'll be here for
Yep.
a bit longer. I'm towards the end of my day, but I'll still be hanging out in Discord a bit, answering questions, sort of like if you've got ideas you want to bounce off, if you've got something that you want to know, we're here, and we're ready. And welcome to Plugin Week.
Yes.
So, if no one has any other questions, I think we'll leave you to it. I think everyone's excited to get on their laptops, computers, devices, and start hacking away, right?
Yeah, yeah. And thank you all for all your help. I really appreciate it. I gotta practice my life skills here, but I love the fact that everybody's really helpful and we made it. Thank you all.
Absolutely. Practice makes perfect.
That's
All
right.
right, everyone. Ciao.
Take care, guys and girls.